Jeff, the city wants to make sure that we all know that they're listening, that every pothole out here that's reported to them is recorded. And from that, the city has come up with a top 50 list.
The police chief says it was just a matter of time before Alberto Rodriguez was caught. You can see right over here in this patrol car, he's sitting inside waiting for officers to clean up and finish the evidence collection. And here on the 600 block of Karen Lane, police were led through a tip to this home. Now, once officers arrived, he ran behind the home. When our camera was recording, and right now you can see Rodriguez, who was so public on Facebook.
This technology allows officers to scan up to 3,600 license plates every single hour. It also helps them track down suspects who are wanted for everything from felonies to traffic violations.
That's right, here's some sidewalks behind me that'll probably never be used again. City officials are telling me this fence is not a chain link one because those are easily cut and pretty easy to get over. There's no getting over this one.
Jeff, stagnant water and really just tall grass can be a home for hundreds of mosquitoes. And with 9 cases already reported in Bexar County, experts say the best defense against West Nile isn't just using a can of bug spray, but using your mind.
Well, Jeff and Sarah, one of the workers at a business here, told me this has been like the world's longest root canal. Problem is, the Novocaine wore off a long time ago. This stretch of Ritterman Road has been like this since the summer of 2011. Well, Deborah and Jeff, that student first sent us photos of what appeared to be a horribly overcrowded bus. We asked them to take their phone and record some video and send that to us. They did. We showed that pictures to Northside, which immediately moved to correct the problem.
And Deborah, we are at Potters Creek Park on the northern edge of Canyon Lake, where boaters and jet skiers now have to dodge the occasional tree when they're out on the water. The lake here is about 10 feet below its ideal level.
Yeah, it's just like Bill had said, and Stage 3, by the way, would be historic for Saw's customers. And as we've already talked about, rain, that's the magic bullet to recharge the aquifer. Ironically, in that first Battle of Flowers parade back in the 1890s, the participants actually tossed fresh flowers at each other. They probably would have been busted too. Reporting live here downtown, Joe Conger, KENS 5 Eyewitness.
Jeff, without such a project that would expand the convention center east towards the Alamo Dome, the city could lose potentially millions of dollars. Deborah, state lawmakers have been working on these new boating rules long before we had any of these incidents. So while they may not be the result of what we've seen lately, the timing sure seems fitting.
Jeff and Sarah, 5 hours ago, this shooting was called in, and take a live look. Police are still out here processing the scene. Was this woman shot in a break-in? Was it a suicide? Or did someone want her dead? At this point, detectives say they're not ruling anything out.
Just to show you what it's like to get blinded by a laser, you can see how distracting this must be for a pilot. Now, lasers like this can impair a pilot's vision miles high up in the air, and it happened twice to a San Antonio pilot you're about to meet.
Well, Jeff, to show you what some pilots are having to deal with, I'm going to shine this laser pointer at our camera. Now, I'm not even pointing it directly at the lens, but clearly it's annoying. So imagine having someone shine one of these directly in your eyes.
Well, Sarah and Jeff, there aren't just a few closed landfills around San Antonio. As you said, there are hundreds. And brush or trash like this or even toxic chemicals, no one really knows what's in them.
Paramedics say that with everything they have to deal with both inside and outside of the ambulance, they say having to handle a gun is just an unnecessary responsibility.
Well, Southeast Skyline Park is a small part of a big county investment into recreational parks and programs. The deal from the county was we build it, you keep it running and schedule tournaments and youth events. But as you can see from this trash right here next to me and these weeds which are growing all over the park, they haven't exactly been keeping their promise.
I'm at Nassau Drive and Scale Street, and this is where everything went down. And because of what you see here, police are really on the hunt to find the person who is responsible for this.
To give you an idea of just how fast and how far this water went, that's the river all the way down there. And it swelled so quickly and so much Saturday night, it came all the way up to where we're standing.
Jeff and Deborah, the images, video footage that you're seeing on TV is quite heartbreaking, but once you make it here to the disaster zone, it is quite shocking seeing all of the debris piled up, tree after tree, no telling where they came from. Now, this tree here might be several hundred years old, but I want to show you how powerful the floods must have been. It peeled the bark from this tree. Look at it, making it so smooth to the touch. And you know, we've been reporting on all the personal items we've been seeing here. You have a soccer ball we found, and even someone's souvenir from Mexico belonging to Gabriela, it seems. Earlier today, we spoke to a Navy vet who saw one of our reports. Jeff and Sarah, I'm on the banks of the Blanco River, and it's amazing just how much the water has receded. We keep finding people's belongings in between all of this debris here. Just right now, I found this webcam, someone's personal webcam tangled in front of that brush you see there behind me. Now, as you walk with me here, I want to show you just how high the water got, and definitely historic. It rose above the bridge here off to my right, so it's understandable that people are still quite a bit scared should they see more rain. And just think about it, I would be underwater right now.
Where I'm standing right now, Jeff, is County Road 4516. It's basically right where it ends. That's the Quee Creek behind me. It stretches clear across to the other side. Now, earlier today, where I'm standing, I'm 6 feet tall. Where I'm standing, my head would have been completely underwater. Well, the question of building it all back together all depends on when the Quee Creek goes down. It flows back into the Hondo Creek. Here is the side of the road. You can see some of the plant life here just barely sticking out above the road. The question being, how deep is this? Residents that have come out here today have gauged it between 12 feet and 8 feet deep at its deepest point. So the question is, how deep is it? When will it recede? And when will people once again be able to go up and down this county road? Reporting live from Medina County, Christopher Heath, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
Yeah, Sarah and Jeff, could you imagine having to walk through this to get to your children? These parents who live in this neighborhood right behind me say they were promised 2 years ago that this would be a paved road. Today, this muddy, nasty field was the only access they had to get to their children.
Somehow lost control and ended up crashing into this utility truck.
I saw this
utility truck. We're told the force of the crash actually pushed the truck back about 2 to 3 feet. At last check, we're told the driver.
With more than 25,000 people enrolled here, students say no lights creates a big problem.
It is, and many of the shop owners are telling me they can't afford to pay the rent because the customers just avoid this stretch of road entirely.
Sarah, tomorrow the City Council is expected to approve an additional $30,000 in grant money for additional stations as well as for additional bikes. The city says it is needed to keep up with the surprising demand.
As you can tell behind me, construction is booming here at Magnolia Springs, but after talking to some of the residents, they tell me that's one of the reasons why they've become vulnerable.
Let me show you the fire from our vantage point. About an hour ago, the sky was much darker. The cloud of smoke was 3 times as big, but we've seen this fire flare up more than a dozen times today. And when it does so quickly, which is why today Petrenko Elementary School was prepared. Now, had the school been evacuated, students would have been taken to Medina Valley High School. The high school was ready, which has actually worked out because the residents who have been evacuated because of this fire, well, they're being taken to the high school. Reporting from Medina County, Brian New, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
Well, Sarah, this construction site is obviously making it difficult for people to get to the daycare, but they say all that dust and debris is also affecting the children, and there's no telling when this project will be done since it's currently on hold.
What they have in Kerrville are plenty of oil field tanks. What they need are employees.
Trenchers, toilets, and trash. This property, one of more than a half dozen the city of Blanco is in the process of cleaning up.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it overlooks Canyon Lake, a great condo to retire in. But this homeowner tells me looks can be deceiving.